Welcome to UC News, ucnewscanada.ca. The Canadian Crisis Response. I'm Dr. Dave. A massive crime wave is occurring in major insurance companies across the country. An investigation of car insurance companies in Quinte West reveals a significant state of fraud where people are forced to pay for car insurance by the government but receive no significant service for their payments. Vehicles are essentially not covered, and the funds are used for purposes other than insurance. Drivers are forced to buy life insurance policies even though the injury expenses are covered by our healthcare system, not the insurance companies. Our right to choose has been removed, there is no free market, and the companies refuse to provide significant service. This government-sponsored crime wave is destroying the lives of millions of Canadians and driving the country to economic collapse. The Supreme Court has ruled that when government officials force people into the hands of corporations acting against Canadians, that the directors of these corporations are also liable. The web of crime originates at the Financial Services Commission of Ontario, with direct ties to the bank-run Ministry of Finance. Under the law, legitimate government activities require care and concern for the economic, social, and ecologic well-being of Canadians, not plunder. Insurance, by definition, concerns care for people, whereas Canadians are experiencing fraud, theft, and criminal collusion. Those who break the law must be subject to scrutiny, investigation, and criminal charges. Canadian law is crystal clear. It is not the role of workers in government to force us into the hands of corrupt corporations. When the job of every worker in government is to protect and defend our lives using the principles and practices of our Canadian Constitution Act, it should not be up to citizens to investigate both the corrupt government officials and the corrupt corporate directors. The principles of insurance are simple, obvious, and easily understood. If we insure a car, the most obvious factor is risk proportional to exposure. Instead, we have policies designed to provide no substantial service whatsoever. Instead of car insurance, we are forced to buy life insurance policies, but all our injuries are covered by our healthcare system. This is fraud at massive scale, at a time when those funds are urgently needed in our lives and for our healthcare system. Under the Canadian Criminal Code, when insurance money is not used for the purpose of insurance, this is fraud and theft. When specific individuals benefit from these systems created against Canadians, this is organized crime. This is done by refusing to recognize our Section 7 Charter rights to take risk, refusing to recognize a standard baseline of normal risk as part of daily life, refusing to recognize that all law is an assessment of risk within reasonable limits based on fact and evidence admissible in a court of law. Canadians know the difference between real work needed to build our lives and the reasonable limits that must be placed on those who spend all their time scheming to take everything from us as they seek unlimited income without labor. Canadians who believe in equality under the law have the constitutional right to take action, to enact their fundamental rights to freedom of expression and belief in a healthy society with an open market. The vast majority of Canadians believe in justice, are honest and hard-working with principles and ethics of care. When those who reject the law get into positions of power, our lives become damaged to the extent that our kids have no future. This is the situation in Canada now, a state of lawlessness. A small handful of individuals in the Financial Services Commission of Ontario are breaking the law and showing callous disregard for the lives of Canadian citizens. They are operating outside the law, actively engaged in fraud, collusion, aiding, and abetting. Openly showing contempt for our Supreme Court of Canada, open to charges. Because this is a serious threat to the lives of individual Canadians and can collapse our economy, UC News is making this urgent call out to all citizens in distress to act and do the work needed to address this problem by due process of law. But we are in crisis and must act immediately in the open market using the social and economic rights and freedoms of our Corporations Act. Effective immediately, calling on all interested citizens to create a fair and honest insurance company that respects the law and our lives, understanding what is at stake, the future of our children. The mathematics of insurance is trivial. The principles are clear. Our lives cannot be destroyed by criminals. Effective immediately, I call on all Canadians to build a fair and honest insurance system based on care for people, using the fair and legal principles and practices of our Canadian Constitution Act.